By the way, are you a pickle guy?
Yeah, you know.
So, I mean, I feel like that's like the right type of pickle.
Absolutely.
Zolak was just ranting and raving about these pickles for fucking 5 minutes.
Well,
Let me know whenever we're rolling, by the way. I don't know if, we're rolling?
Oh.
Okay. Well, we're back here with another episode of Dave's Back here with another episode of the Shut Up Mark podcast, Jerry, at fucking Dave's Hot Chicken. We're here in Newton, Mass. We wanted to show Metro West a little bit of love. We're always up the fucking North Shore in Saugus. And we are here with, by the way, I just want to say again, Dave's Hot Chicken makes this whole thing go around. As you can tell, they're our number one partner. They've been unbelievable. Top Dog Law. Okay? If you or a loved one, Jerry, is injured at work, on the road, anywhere, unjustly, you need to call Top Dog Law immediately and get the compensation and justice that you deserve. Okay? Number one highest, fastest rising injury law firm, personal injury law firm in the country. Dave's Hot Chicken, fastest growing restaurant franchise in the country, Jerry. Locations opening every 6 weeks to 2 months. Most recently in Medford, Massachusetts, over at Wellington Station. Soon to be September 13th, Burlington, Vermont. Then after that, it's Worcester, it's Hadley, and then we're down to Rhode Island. And that's how we're going to finish out 2024. With that being said, guys, Barstool Sports needs no introduction. I've been a stoolie since 2009, junior year, Jerry. I've been here for a while. I've been aboard the pirate ship for a while. And it's tough to find people that have been there since the jump. We are lucky enough to have one of them here today. Do you think you deserve to be, if they ever made like a Barstool museum, do you think you have to be in it, right? You have to be there. Do you want a bust in there? Do you want to pick like a portrait, like a George Washington portrait? Do you want like a Hall of Fame bust? What do you want in the Barstool Museum?
You know, when they first opened Cooperstown,
yeah,
the inductees were the greatest class of anybody that's ever been elected into any Hall of Fame ever.
Okay.
It was Ruth, it was Cobb, it was Christy Mathewson, it was Walter Johnson. I probably was eligible for that too at the time. Yeah. I think I had been retired from the major leagues for 5 years by the time that place opened. But no, I like to think, in all humility, a first ballot Barstool Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Only for just the time I've been on there. Kind of like how some guys make it into Cooperstown only because they played forever.
Sure.
Like they were never that good.
Tim,
like,
no offense to, is it Harold Baines or Tim Raines? Harold Baines. No
Sure.
offense to Harold Baines. Great career. Hall of Famer, I don't know. But the guy played for 7,000 years in the MLB. Mm-hmm. And is that also, though, like that's a Hall of Fame worthy accomplishment, man? 22 years in the bigs.
Sure. But I saw all of Bert Blyleven's career, I think. I can't actually put a date on when he started, but he got in not that long ago. No one ever looked at a weekend series and said, ooh, Sox have Bert Blyleven against them next. Oh, that's going to be a toughie. No one ever cared. Probably no one ever paid money to buy a ticket to watch him
we
play.
Got to get
he's
there.
In the hall.
Blyleven is in town, Jerry. We need the seats behind home plate.
Right. That's a sentence that has never been spoken.
Right.
Yet he got in just through longevity. I think I belong in the Stool Hall of Fame just out of longevity alone, even though there are guys there are Triple Crown winners, there are MVPs, there are guys that have set records for ratings and hits. But no, I feel like I've accomplished a lot there. I was there. I was the third writer that Dave ever hired, and I'm putting that in quotes.
And you are
because,
still technically, but you are part of the original, what I call the Four Horsemen.
Yes.
That's what I mean. It's whenever you were hired is basically is sort of inconsequential, but like 2 and 3 are the same, whatever the fuck, right? I'm just saying, like, it's you, Manzo,
Chisholm.
And the other guy, fella, what's his name?
Uncle Buck.
That him.
Yep. Uncle Buck came after me, and they're all one of my best friends. I still talk to Chisholm once in a while. So last year, around this time, we had a 20th anniversary party for Barstool.
That.
And it was great because it was at House of Blues. So it's back in Fenway. All the guys from New York and Chicago were all in there. And it was great for me to sit there and go, okay, so we've been 20 years. That means I'm coming up on my 20th anniversary because I started not long after it began. And, I shouldn't give away private conversations, but, you and I have no secrets. So Dave's dad said to me, I've decided you've got the best job in this company. I go, how do you figure? He goes, well, you don't come to New York unless you want to, unless you're taking the Irish Rose to see a show or whatever. You work from home.
She loves a good show tune, Jerry.
Oh, she's big into
Loves a
theater.
good show tune.
Believe me. And by osmosis, I'm like one of the world's foremost authority on Broadway musicals.
As far as like having your wife be a Broadway fan, you are by proxy the biggest
yeah, I've seen her in so many shows. I've seen her in Sound of Music so many times that if like a Liesel twists her ankle somewhere and they need an understudy, they can call me and I'll throw on the dress and I can do 16 going on 17. I might do it for the people at Dave's Hot Chicken. I might actually do it.
A little Shakespeare in the Park.
Oh,
action
yeah.
right here. There's enough space to build a stage back here, Jerry.
I'll bring a tear right. No lie. When I do bar trivia and the category is musicals, the whole rest of my team, men and women, go, all right, you got this. And they just get up like, we'll take a bathroom break.
Little Pirates and Penzance. Little, might have Sound of Music in there. Oklahoma.
Music Man.
Music, yeah, exactly. The Sound of Music.
Your Disney ones.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so I never go to New York. I write what I want to write about within parameters. You know what I mean? I've got an obligation to my employers, and I don't want to, like, you know, as Michael Jordan said, you know, Republicans and Democrats both buy sneakers. But so yeah, he said, you've got a great job. You can work here forever. And I just went, shh. Nobody needs to know that I've got a good. No, I even when I was gone for 2 years, so from 2014 to 2016, I was at WEI full-time.
Jerry, they said some mean stuff about me these last 2 weeks.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. They did. I had a couple guys that aren't there anymore. I'm going to put it to you that way if you've been on Twitter a lot.
Okay, I'm going to say this. If a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, doesn't make a sound. If someone badmouths you on WEI, no one's hearing it.
No.
Seriously, if you open up that door right now and shouted negative things about WEI,
come on, man.
no one, it's falling on deaf ears.
Jerry,
More people will hear it than hear it through their
10 minutes
airways.
into the fucking show, man. Come on. You just got here. The wallpaper's on fire already. Jesus Christ.
You know what? I sit at home all day typing lowest common denominator nonsense into the internet. I need to talk to another guy.
Listen.
This is my thing.
We could have been pen pals. That would have been great. Imagine instead of me messaging you on Facebook, I could have wrote you a fucking quill pen stationery letter. I would have got you on the show way sooner than that, man.
Yeah, send it by carrier pigeon.
100%.
Sure.
Yeah, there's got to be one left out there, right?
Not that old, Mark.
Okay,
not
fine,
that
right?
old. I got some years on me, but no. While I was at EEI too, and by the way, I appreciate them. Like, they took a chance on me. I felt it paid off. I just still had that opportunity with Dave.
It's a no-brainer. Jokes aside, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, because while I was gone, they sold out in interest to Chernin, so now it was run by a company, a corporation, so I could get that boring stuff that
How did you feel about that when that happened, though?
I was proud of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I use this word, I don't mean like financial. I mean, you know, emotional, but I felt some ownership in that success, you know? I had moved on and I was working for another company. I was happy to, but when Chernin being there, I now had the opportunity to do the boring stuff that was important to me because I had 2 kids. When I started there, I was married with 2 kids. All the other guys were single.
But they were young and shit, right? Your kids were obviously like very young.
Yeah, so I needed like dental and vision and a pension and all that jive. So the negotiation I had with Dave about coming back lasted maybe 90 seconds, and 60 seconds of that was just talking about stuff. Which is like, so you come back and write about the Patriots and whatever, and I go, yeah. He goes, all right, well, what would it cost? And I named a price. He said, okay, done. That was it. And I just went to EEI. I didn't do that thing. I have a cousin. I'm sorry, not my cousin. My brother-in-law is a corporate lawyer, and he's just said, look, you did the right thing because you didn't tin cup it. Meaning you go to your employer and, hey, can you pay me more? And then you go to them, well, they're willing to pay. I just said, no, clean break. I respect you guys. Thanks for hiring me. Thanks for giving me this chance. But my heart and soul is with Barstool, and not for a minute have I regretted it. And I would really have regretted leaving if I realized they were bad-mouthing you at EEI, because whoever was doing it, I would have laid waste to them.
Listen.
I would have flamed them like Jeff Ross at a roast.
Listen.
They would have rued the day they ever bad-mouthed you.
Gresham Fourier. I don't know what I did to you guys. Don't know.
Really?
They take my clip from the Judon pod, Jerry. Did well for the young guy right here.
Sure.
Everywhere.
It was
I'm
a
getting
scoop.
ESPN, it was a scoop. The ESPN picked it up. My first time ever in the big publication.
Yeah.
Finally getting my cup of coffee in the mainstream. They go to play my clip, and before that, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram video, but they're like, yeah, I wouldn't really know who this guy is, so I don't want to give him more credit than he deserves. But, yeah, I guess he had Judon on the podcast, and whatever. Yeah, we'll play a clip from it. Again, don't know who this guy. They, felt the need to, double down on it even further, before they even cut to the clip. And I was like, all right, man, listen. You don't have to be like, this is the next big thing in media and content. This guy is a D. No, bro. All you have to be like is hey, listen, I don't know. We're not really familiar with this guy, but got Judah on the pod, and we found a part of this that's interesting and wanted to show it to you guys. That's all they had to say. I didn't care about anything else. They couldn't, Jerry, if they said nothing at all, it would have been better.
Yeah.
I just played the clip. I wouldn't have even gave a shit. I really wouldn't have cared.
Can we unpack that for a second? What's this? We don't want to give him more credit than he deserves. Fine. How about give him the amount of credit that he deserves? How about hit that nail right on the head? What? No one deserves more credit than they deserve by definition. That's why you use that word twice in the same sentence. But why not just congratulate you
my thing.
on a coup?
My thing is you know what? My thing with the whole thing is I don't need a fucking pat on the back from nobody, Jerry. I've been grinding this out for 12 years on my own.
Yeah.
But me and you have a conversation. This is the first time I meet Jerry in person. I've talked to the guy, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
About 2-3
I think
years
last
ago?
year at this point we had talked about getting together during
doing
the season,
something.
and then
yeah,
life gets
I
in the way,
invited you
know?
bowling or something. You're like, I'm a lefty. I only do candlepin. I'm like, whatever. No, I'm kidding. I don't even think we got to that yet. No, but it was a matter of I'm like, I don't care. Listen, my mode of validation is this. Fucking somebody like you coming on my show. That's all that's what I take as the, oh, nice. Okay, that's my sticker for the day. You know what I'm saying? That's my seal of approval.
I'm a big score.
I think, yeah.
I'm a whale.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what kind of whale. What kind of whale do you think you are? Do you think you're
No,
is Ahab out looking for you right now, you think?
No, I mean a whale a big client, that score,
Yeah.
that investor that you need to come in and make your company huge. No,
Yeah.
I don't consider myself that. I just, I like hanging out with guys.
Sure.
You seem like a cool guy. I love watching the podcast, and it just seemed like it would be a
Did
good
you watch
hang.
the Judon pod?
Oh yeah, well I pulled clips out of it and I posted on Barstool
you did do that, yes.
with the full credit
Thank
because
you.
it's not hard. One thing that has helped build the Barstool brand into what it is that we do our own stuff, and when we use someone else's content to make some point, we give them credit for it. We never
all it comes down to.
We don't lift jokes, we don't lift quotes, we don't take credit for other people's work to the point where, let me tell you a brief story about this.
Sure, absolutely.
A buddy of mine, Mike Dassault, and he now works at Patriots.com, but he started his own little website, Pat's Pulpit. Good guy. I'd been on his show once or twice. He comes up with this T-shirt idea after Super Bowl 51, which is that scoreboard, the 28-3 with 2:12 left, and then the 34-28 on the back.
That might as well have been that. I associate that image with the stool. I associate that image with the stool, not even the NFL, nothing. It's almost like it's your graphic.
For a very good reason. So Portnoy reaches out to me and said, "Do you know this guy?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Can you connect us, because we want to sell that, but we want to give him credit in his piece of it. It's not copyrighted. We're the big fish who could roll in there and then just take it and use it, but that's not how we roll."
That's a big good guy move on Dave, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike said sure, they worked out some terms, and from the sales of that, which he would have done okay on his own site, but on Barstool it went to the moon and back. Hell, I got the flag hanging up in my friggin' sports den at home. This guy was able to move back across the country and live in New England again, start up reboot his podcast, and now he has a job with Patriots.com. Their schedule release video, he was in it. He's on their social media site, and again, all the credit is to him, but Barstool gave him a boost because we'd rather do that than just be sitting there like Gresh and Fourier badmouth you. And listen, a terrestrial radio station badmouthing a guy running a podcast is like a typewriter company going, "I don't get this whole laptop thing. That ain't gonna work, Listen, I make the finest horse buggies in all of the colonies. Well, I don't know what these motor cars things are. We
man.
don't need those, you know. Well, I don't.
Me and my canoe
yeah.
are good. We do not need this yacht for any reason whatsoever, right? You know what I'm saying?
I run damn fine telephone lines on those poles running down the street.
Yeah.
No one's gonna want these cell phone things.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So yeah, wear that as a badge of honor, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. And no, another part of that is like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to like not laugh.
Go ahead, laugh.
Yeah, go ahead, laugh. I'll give
makes
you a
me
laugh.
feel
Yeah,
good.
give me a nice laugh right there.
Listen,
you know what
it's
I mean?
not the first time I've been laughed out of a Dave's Hot Chicken, okay? But once I'm just glad that it's because I'm going for laughs and not just making
putzing
it,
around,
that
right?
that I'm embarrassing myself.
Yeah,
and,
exactly, right. No,
showing up with khaki, pleats in my khakis and a phone outside my pants.
Do you have a clip? Do you have a
yeah,
phone
yeah,
clip?
exactly.
Oh,
Members
God,
only
Jerry,
jacket.
come on,
no,
man. Jerry, we gotta.
None of that. No, I'm cool, you young kids.
The phone clip is just it's a relic of time, and I'm glad that you're like holding it alive, man. I honestly, you and my dad. It's like you and my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what was I gonna say
your
though?
Dad. Holy moly!
What'd you say?
I remind you of your dad.
My dad's
Holy-
a handsome guy. You want to see?
Yeah, I mean,
Hold on, I'll show you.
I enjoy looking at a handsome man as
Yeah,
much as
my
an
dad's a
ex-gentleman.
handsome guy. Hold on a second, I'll show you. 1 minute. I get AL up on here
Sure.
really quick.
I'll just let the Western audience let me eat fries. while-
Christopher Columbus High School, class of 1982. Great athletics, Jerry.
You know what? So he is my age, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was going to say, where'd you go to high school?
Weymouth South, class of 81.
Let's go.
So talk slow.
Yeah.
Weymouth, the proud hometown of a guy we lost recently, God rest his soul, George Young, who is the
Wow,
guy
you're
that
right.
Johnny Depp played in the movie
Blow.
Blow, who basically created the international cocaine smuggling trade. So there you go.
Where would we be without that guy?
Weymouth's the home of legends.
The 80s would have been so much less fun. You know what I'm saying, Jerry?
Absolutely.
This is my dad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, you remind me of my... Not bad.
I'm confident enough in my own masculinity to be able to look at a guy and go, now that's a good-looking cat.
That's my old man right there. That's big. That's big Anthony L. right there.
Does he still wear the wife beater shirts?
no,
As we used
no.
to say in a different time. Not funny saying the word wife beater anymore. It's wrong.
not.
But I'm just talking in anachronisms.
No, thank God that was put away in. I think he got rid of it before the 2000s.
I bet
Thank
it'd still
God.
wear the bejeebers out of that thing.
Yeah,
though.
he
I
could.
bet
No,
he's a
he
handsome
could. He's
guy.
got the stomach for it now. That's what I say. He's got a little bit more what we call a tripa in Italian culture. So he would definitely fill that up. Never a chain guy, which was a good thing. Never an ear. Actually, he was an earring guy very briefly. Whatever, different story for a different day. Speaking, since we're talking about the culture of sports media right now, Jerry, here in 2024, I think we just talked to Zolak about this. Do you feel like we're at as big a crossroads as ever, as big a transition time? How have you watched this media market evolve? How do people consume things back when you and obviously the older days compared to now when the newspaper was like, what the fuck did Shaughnessy just write in the and
Right.
now people go to you to read Pat stuff on a site that's not a town funded. I mean, obviously Barstool's a Massachusetts, Boston-based property to begin with, but I'm just saying like it's not like it's owned by one fucking guy.
Right.
There's not like a team of like it's not John Henry owning the Boston Globe where it's like, hey, no, the Sox bullpen's great. Wait, we just gave up 5 to Baltimore in the 8th inning last night. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. So if you could elaborate on that.
I had a conversation like this with my in-laws recently, and they were talking about how you get your news. I don't even know how the subject came up, but it was like they were talking about cable news. Like that's where they get their information from. And I said, I'll be honest with you, I get it from Twitter. And it kind of got a little condescending there for a bit. Like, you get it from Twitter? I'm like, well, yeah, because I get it from there because it's instant. And even if it's like real information, like real important information, I take it all with a grain of salt because you never know. Everybody out there can throw out something, whether it's something really significant like a world event, a war or whatever. You don't believe any of that.
Gaza Israel thing, the whole fucking stuff with Russia and
exactly, or even just like something inconsequential like a trading deadline rumor. You've got to like look that stuff up because there's 100 Adam Schefter dummy accounts out there, and you don't want to be the
Yeah,
guy who
it's
goes,
insane.
"Oh wow, hey, the Patriots just signed C.D. Lamb," and you look at something like Adam Schefter.
Schlefter, yeah, exactly. Adam J.
So I go to Twitter because it's instantaneous. And by the way, 3 days ago, the sitting president of the United States says he's not going to run for office. Where did he write it? On Twitter.
Yeah.
Like the idea that
He didn't
people
take on a
would
page of the
wait-
Times and be
right.
like, yeah, hey.
Right. The idea that people would go, well, once I get home, I'm going to turn on cable and I'm going to sit through the commercials for like penis medicine or whatever and hope that they get to the story that I'm interested in and not just instantly
At
go,
the top of
boom.
the hour, dude. I've been
Yeah,
watching
exactly.
CNN for 45 minutes waiting to hear about fucking the head of the guy, the prime minister of Israel's making a statement or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
It's like,
Coming up right
at
after this,
Yeah,
right?
coming up at 6:48. It's like, yeah, I've been sitting here for an hour already. Can we just like cut to the chase? You could open Twitter and hit like trending and be like 19 different points of view about the same thing.
Exactly.
And it's
if the Irish Rose wants to know something, I heard something, or where do I find this? And I just go, hold on. And I tell you, I search it in
just a
Twitter,
minute, honey.
and it's there. And I
Yeah.
go, here's someone who's saying it's BS. This is someone who said that it happened. This is someone who said it didn't. But who do I believe in this or whatever?
Then
So
the community
it's-
notes come in and they're like, oh, actually, that's the one that's right. And
Community
you're like,
Notes is
yup.
a great invention.
Godsend,
Absolutely.
is it not?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Now,
my God.
as far as sports go, God, I'm old enough to remember when, and these people still exist, by the way. I had a conversation with one of them at Gillette in the press box a while ago, a guy whose job it is to still go on the local 6 o'clock news and give you the sports report. Now, when I was a kid, that was a thing. Like you saw the
waited for that,
highlight
right?
of the
Yeah.
Red Sox game that at 6 p.m. the game ended at 10:30 the night before. How does that still exist? How are you still
right.
sitting there going, and here are the highlights, and they managed to turn the double play, and he went 3 for 4,
Yeah.
and now let's go to the golf. Like,
Yeah,
who
right.
does that? Like, and my mother-in-law was the last person to still get the newspaper delivered to her front door. And I would pick it up and just go, Nana, tell me where in this is the news. Where's news in this? Because all this stuff everyone else knew 24 hours ago. They cut down some trees, they ran them through a mill,
Yeah.
they put a bunch of ink on them, and someone in a car drove it and left it on your front stop. So anyway, that's just how it's changed. And just, I don't know, since I probably hit adulthood, I'm not sure where it's going now, but it just seems more and more and more. It's this. It's direct. There's no middleman between you and the people who want to hear from you. They can feed feedback instantly to you, right, and tell you what they think, give you their opinions and stuff. And I love this part of it, which is just two guys just jibber
Shooting the
jabber.
shit, that's it.
Used to be a time when Mr. T didn't have time for your jibber jabber.
No.
Now jibber jabber is what we all do, and it's messy, and it's a conversation, and people talk over each other, and they interrupt, and that's how I want to hear about stuff. That's
And it's,
entertainment.
It's
for me.
not even the full conversational. It's this big marketed thing as such. Oftentimes, it's 15 seconds of the conversation. It's
Sure.
just the clip. You say something profound, I go, holy shit. And then like, oh, it's like, yep. And that's your headline now. Remember
Right.
when you used to have like the editor who was like, oh, we need a headline. Fucking Yastrzemski strokes 400th, whatever the fuck, and put some big byline headline thing.
Right.
That's been, now it's all about like the clip that you get that links it all back to this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We had a couple from the.
By the way, I won't be saying anything profound.
No,
So if you're talking about
right.
pulling a 10-second clip
Right.
of anything profound, it ain't happening out of me.
we
If
can
you-
hire an intern to go through this entire pod and find the smartest thing that Jerry said, and then go with that.
Or you know what? If you just want to have somebody, do an AI.
Sure.
Just get some AI and have it sound really
Does
pithy
AI
and
freak
smart.
you out a little bit? Because here's the thing with AI for me, right? Just right before you drop your take, it is the greatest double-edged sword I think I've ever seen in our lifetime, man. Besides Coke.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's just sometimes it does stuff, and I'm like, this is really like insanely interesting, genuinely helpful shit. Sometimes I'm like, this is a problem. Like this you can't be doing that. Like you gotta like no.
Oh yeah. I
I think when you
immediately.
have a daughter and there's some fucking fake image of her online doing these crazy sexual things or some shit, like the whole thing that happened with Taylor Swift and stuff like that. It's like, what do we? Hold on a
Yeah.
minute now. You know what I mean?
There was just an actor, a performer, actress or a musical performer, woman who was saying she just got off of Twitter altogether because of that kind of content that was being attached to her
Was
name.
it Madonna, I hope?
No, it was someone relevant.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. No, Madonna would love that. Are you kidding? Madonna's
actually, now
Madonna's
that you're right.
funding that stuff for the love of God, will somebody just try to act like I'm still sexy?
Yeah.
Like she's
The sequel to the Like a Virgin video,
yeah,
100 years later. Yeah, here we go, right?
And by the way, in her day, she was an absolute rocket. You know,
You think so?
back in the day, you go to like.
Do you have her ahead of Paula Abdul?
Open your heart to me. Oh yeah.
You ever head of Paula?
Yeah, she was always.
Paula
more
was
my
hot, man.
thing.
Paula was in shape.
Yeah. The Vogue video, that sweet spot era of her.
Yeah,
even
Vogue
if
is
you
my
really
favorite
want to
Madonna
go
song,
back
I'm
to
not
like
gonna lie.
her early stuff, like a Virgin or whatever, like okay, she's a lot of it's an affectation, the outfits and the
True
hats
Blue,
or whatever.
great album.
But
Yep.
There's an old Joe Rogan bit from when I was doing comedy with him, and once in a while, the only thing my sons have ever been impressed that I've ever done, even remotely impressed, was when I told them, yes, I've opened for Joe Rogan back in the day, and he did this bit about watching this Madonna video where she crawls on all fours across a countertop and she starts drinking milk out of a bowl like a cat. And his girlfriend just said, "Do you like her?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, again, his joke, not mine. She goes, "Would you have sex with her?" And she goes, "I would do her in front of you. I would do her on the Thanksgiving dinner table in front of my family, you know?" So, I don't know how we sidetracked off of that.
No,
we were talking about AI and crap.
AI, yeah.
To me, I go right to Terminator 2. You know, machines were able to think. Skynet became self-aware. Machines making machines. Decided
Ripples in
people were
the
the
fabric
problem.
of time and space, and then there's fucking me and you going back to fight Schwarzenegger in the year in 2072 Los Angeles.
Right. All your great sci-fi, going all the way back even to like ancient myths, was always mankind creates something to make our lives better, and it ends up being the implement of our destruction. Frankenstein's monster.
Prometheus with the fire, even though but kind of. Well, his destruction, because obviously,
he stole fire and gave it to
the humans, and then
humans.
Zeus was like, "Fuck you," and then that whole thing happened with the story.
It's still hubris. I would say Icarus. You know, his father created the wings with the wax, and he flew up too close to the sun, and all the way through to like your Star Trek episodes, and and this is what we're doing. We are creating the means of our own destruction, because AI it's going to be useful for some things. It might help you diagnose some diseases or whatever, but eventually it's just going to become too smart. We're not going to be able to stop it, and it's going to be Planet of the Apes, right? We'll just be like running around in loincloths.
Are you one of the apes, or are you Charlton Heston?
I'd be Charlton Heston all day long.
Not a bad guy to be.
You cut up his brain, you bloody baboons.
Yeah.
It's a madhouse. A madhouse. I'd be Charlton Heston because I love to overact.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's probably. All right, if we're going back in the days, right? We were just talking about like handsome guys for a second. Charlton Heston, Warren Beatty, maybe like Robert Mitchum, Gregory Peck.
Oh yeah. Eastwood.
Who was taking the most down? I think it might.
Oh,
Clint's got. Okay.
Paul Newman.
Yeah, you're right. Conversation's over. You're 100% right. The one guy I forgot. I was going to say Robert Redford, but you picked me up on that.
The way
also.
I can look at your dad, or like say, a certain former Patriots quarterback, like I think I have the ability to look at a guy like Paul Newman and go, "Holy moly, that guy!"
That guy's good. That's a hand. Yeah.
Cool thing about him is that he walked away from acting at the height of his fame. He was the biggest star of his time, and he left it to go join motorsports. This is the equivalent of like if Tom Cruise said, "I'm going to stop making movies, and I'm going to join the PGA Tour."
Yeah, right. Or do the Tour de France or some shit, yeah.
And he won events. And so he was one time, because he just liked hanging out with those kind of guys instead of like Hollywood stars. So the story goes that he was out in like Georgia, and they're working on a race, and he's surrounded by the kind of guys who, if you just go, "Hey, we need a distributor cap for this car," and they can disappear for an hour and come back with it, but they don't know how much his last movie grossed or whatever. So to make himself useful, he started cooking. And he makes like a salad, and his agent goes, "This dressing's awesome. Where'd you get this?" He goes, "Oh, it's a recipe. It's my recipe." He goes, "You ought to market this and sell it." That's Newman's Own.
Paul Newman's Own. They have one of the best raspberry vinaigrettes
Yep.
I've ever had.
And between that and the pasta sauces and
it's like not that bad.
And the drinks, like
the lemonade.
the lemonade.
The lemonade's unbelievable.
Yeah, I have one little issue with the lemonade, which is it's a yellow liquid in a bottle that's labeled Newman's Own.
Yeah.
But you know what? I bet if you drank Paul Newman's Own.
Oh, I would. If there was one, I was gonna kind of. Yeah. I'm like, that's really not. You could do way worse, in my opinion.
And I was just on a podcast with Boston comic Mark Riley, and all the way home from this road trip up to the studio, we cited lines from Slapshot. Me, him, and his buddy. It's the hardest I've laughed in 2024. What a classic movie that is. And
yeah, Dave's a killer. Dave's a mess. Slapshot is a good one. Do you have a favorite sports movie? Is it Slapshot?
I have many, but I'm going to have to pick one.
Pick one from each for me.
Yeah. So a while ago, I did, with some buddies of mine, we did a Guy Movie 100 podcast. It was like a 5-part series. This was before I was back at Barstool full-time.
Okay.
And our number one was Caddyshack. Number one all-time Guy movie, so it has to be my number.
That's a very respectable pick. I don't.
Right. Not a great movie, but every guy's likes that. Every guy knows it. You've
quote
never
a little
once
bit.
been on a golf course without saying it. My father-in-law was a retired judge, and every time I golfed with him, at some point I go, "It's your honor, Your Honor."
Yeah.
And he had no idea that I was citing Caddyshack.
It's full of a bunch of yuck jokes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It feels like it's like a live action Simpsons episode.
Oh yeah, and
That's what Caddyshack is always kind of like the parallel that I've drawn with that movie. I'm not gonna lie, is Caddyshack like a life-changing movie for me? No, but do I enjoy Caddyshack? Sure. In the same way I enjoy Kingpin.
Right.
Or something like that, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna say Kingpin is my favorite bowling movie.
Okay.
Controversial talk, I know.
Now hold on a second. Do you consider The Big Lebowski a bowling movie?
Yeah, it absolutely would be. Yeah, but I'm going to say I think Kingpin is actually, this is a controversial take.
This is a hot take, I think.
Is the best Farrelly Brothers movie. Better than Dumb and Dumber, really.
Better than Something About Mary?
Yes. If you hold them up side by side, I just think Kingpin
I don't know. I see. That's a scalding hot take right there, Jerry. I don't know that I can even get it. I might have to disagree with you on that. I mean, I think it's Dumb and Dumber for them personally.
Oh, it's the most popular. For sure.
It is. That's me personally. Something About Mary comes in
huge hit.
Close though with Kingpin though, I would say.
Yeah, I would say the most underrated is Me, Myself, and Irene. I think it's criminally
underrated. Everybody, and Jerry. Everybody. I am the biggest Jim Carrey fan on planet Earth. Everybody forgets about Me, Myself, and Irene whenever they mention his scenography. What's the fucking verbiage there?
Wait, hold on. His
scenography? There's a word for this, and I can't remember what it is.
I look up this word 100 times a day. It's going to come to me while I'm trying to say
it. It is. Well, sorry. 2 Rhodes Scholars here.
His filmography.
Filmography, yeah. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, me all around.
One of us went to college.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that didn't get a lot of traction until it was on HBO constantly.
Remember when movies used to do that?
Sort of got some traction.
Did you remember when movies used to do that? Mm-hmm. Kind of swing and miss at the box office a little bit, and then come back later and on home video, and the home video sales would blow everybody out of the water. Didn't Grandma's Boy did that?
Okay, sure.
Grandma's Boy, I think, is the most non-returned DVD in the history of Blockbuster.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Grandma's Boy that has that record. Yeah.
There was one that had a lot of life in the early '90s, and it was called 3 O'Clock High. Buddy Hinton and just this, and no one saw it at the movies. If it didn't make a peep there, but then everyone saw it on cable.
Home video, yeah, cable.
Constantly, and now nothing can get that kind of traction because there's 40 freaking movies on your screen at any given time, and they're pushing the particular ones. I mean, they're gonna push this Planet of the Apes one and the Kevin Costner one forever. But back then, when you had 2 or 3 HBOs, and they'd show that stuff, and it'd be the middle of the day, you got nothing going. It's
dude.
Oh, wow, is this kid gonna get beat up after school?
If you had,
hey, did you watch that one where the kid was gonna? Oh yeah, what's it called again?
Nobody realizes what it was like to have the cable package back in the day, the big package. So we just had HBO at my house. That was our one thing. Don't get me wrong. I still got Real Sex at 1 in the morning.
Okay.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite Skinamax, but it was something. Okay. If you had my cousins, however, at the big house down in Revere, had everything: Showtime, Cinemax, Stars.
Oh, they were the cool ones. Were their parents dead?
HBO. No, everybody was alive. Yeah, everybody was alive.
I asked that because in my neighborhood, like, nobody who their parents were paying attention got to have. Like,
no,
Cinemax
that's
and
the
crap
thing.
Like that.
I grew up in basically, it was a. My put it this way, I think I was watching Dusk Till Dawn at like 5 years old. So I was awake way earlier than a lot of guys, if you catch my drift right there. Salma all-time, by the way, Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, 100%.
Salma's all-time. That's an all-time Salma moment. I mean, you can do a little bit more traditional with like Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Salma, Dusk Till Dawn was the awakening for a lot of kids who like came to consciousness in the late 90s like I did.
Oh, yeah.
That was me.
And she has kept it together. There's
Wow.
a whole... I don't know what was in the food back then.
Not sure.
But whatever it was, we need to mass produce it because Elizabeth Hurley made her bones back then. Look at how she's kept it together.
It's unbelievable.
Catherine
Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
She gets forgotten about a lot, I
Yeah.
feel like. And she's an absolute dime piece, man.
Yeah, kept it together too. I think.
Michelle Pfeiffer still looks really good.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I saw her, but I wonder if she's kept if she's. I hope she hasn't done that thing with their face with like the lips and the cheeks
not
or
yet.
whatever.
No, not the Joan Rivers shit.
Elizabeth Shue.
What an underrated fucking pick.
Oh god, she's like Roger Clemens in that
Yeah.
hit the ground as a rookie and you're like, okay, this is someone
Karate Kid, or was she in
impactful.
some before that?
She was in Adventures in Babysitting. I think that was after Karate Kid. So
Okay.
let's
Karate Kid was 83, correct? If I'm correct, somebody correct me in the
right in
comments
that
if I'm wrong.
84 maybe.
Yep.
And then was in like season 2 of The Boys. I'm
Yeah.
like, holy cow.
Just
kept
bring
it.
it-
And then she made a little guest appearance in Cobra Kai, which I love. That friggin' show.
I feel like that show is if there's going to be a modern show that's made for people to like, for that grew up in the time you did, it's Cobra Kai.
Right.
So like that show did exactly what it set out to do with getting your demographic of peeps and like the new demographic
Exactly.
of peeps.
It's nostalgia bait and whatever. It inverted the whole story. So now Johnny Lawrence, who is the greatest a-hole in 80s
He
movies.
was such a prick, dude.
William
Such a
Zabka always played that guy too.
Did he?
He was the same guy in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, you're right.
He was Chaz, whatever. And
such a good. By the way,
yeah.
is Johnny Lawrence not the perfect name?
Oh, yeah.
Too
So
perfect
good.
name. And I will say this right now, but I would argue, I say this sometimes in movie nerd conversations because I am one myself. He could have got a Best Supporting Actor nomination. You could see the conflict in his face most of the time in that entire movie, and then his arc towards the end, even though it literally wraps up and concludes in like legit the final shot of the movie.
right.
I thought he was unbelievable. I think he was like the best actor in the movie. And the other thing I didn't realize was Pat Morita was like a comedic actor.
Oh, he was in Happy Days.
He was in Happy Days. Like he was
Yeah.
like a funny comedic like TV actor. I didn't realize as a kid. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
So-
realize that. I'm talking when I'm 5, 6 years old watching The Karate Kid on HBO or something. I thought he was this serious guy from Japan that was this super serious actor, and it was like, no, the dude was on Happy Days. He was a funny dude.
He pulled it off for sure. And for them to subvert the whole story to now, Johnny is the guy you see why he was the way he was. Because, yeah, he was rich, but he was rich because his stepdad was a supercilious a-hole who, like, lorded over him how much money he had or whatever, but controlled him and made his life miserable. And now Ralph Macchio, Daniel's son, he grows up, cashes in on his fame from the karate tournament, which, as we've all had that argument, it was not legit because
No.
that kick wasn't allowed,
Yeah.
and like he never should have won. But his life goes like through the stratosphere because of it. He has the hot wife, and Johnny's like doesn't understand how the world works. It changed without him. He's trying to start a karate studio, so he's handing out flyers at the park. You know what I mean? 'Cause like it's 1987 again.
It is. I think.
And the little nuances, like the kid who famously says, "Yeah, put him in a body bag." When you meet him in this season, like 3 or so, he's terminal with cancer. They all get together to be with him. As they bury him, you see them zipping him into a body bag.
Oh,
Like just
God.
a subtle little moment that you really had to be tuned into it. And then Terry, what's his name? The guy from Karate Kid 3, the evil guy. Terry Silver?
Silver, yeah. The
And
guy
one-
with the ponytail?
Yes.
Yeah.
At one point, he's in his house, and he's super rich, and he's just got the snifter of brandy, and he's got the smoking jacket on. And while he's talking about his evil plot, he's looking at the painting behind him, and he just turns back, and I paused it. I said, I know that painting. That's Storm on the Sea of Galilee. It's Rembrandt's only seascape, and it was stolen from the Gardner Museum in the most famous heist of all time.
Jerry,
and they
that
just
is-
subtly show it.
That may be the all-time nerdiest thing that anybody's ever said on camera, Jerry, and it's the best thing I've ever heard. Also, at the same time, that is. Jerry said he wasn't going to say anything profound this entire show. That's the most. We need to put that in the clip because that's insane. I need that clip from the movie spliced with the fucking picture from the. Are you serious, right? Obviously,
100%, yeah.
That's unbelievable
And
that you even
I
picked
know
up
it.
on that.
I know it thanks to Final Jeopardy. But
that's-
I not that they just showed the painting like 6 years earlier,
Right.
And I retained it. But fact, Jerry Thornton talking about Rembrandt and Cobra Kai is the leading cause of feminine dryness.
Yeah,
So,
it is. That's an 100% medical fact we were able to share with you on today's program.
So it should come with a warning.
Yeah,
label,
we should put a
for
sign
sure.
on the front door of this place, to be honest with you, because it's something you got to be careful of. Yeah, the 100%. What else was I going to say? Oh, shit.
We were talking about which sports movies fall into is our best in each category, right?
Now we're at Rembrandt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Yes.
Trying
Yep.
to
That's
think.
what we were talking about. Yep.
Football, you know what? I'm gonna
You
go
gonna
with.
go Remember the Titans, Jerry?
I love it. I'm a huge. I'm just. Between,
Was that your pick?
I'm just between that and Rudy. You know.
Oh, take Remember the.
Yeah. I
Don't do this.
I
to me
got
right
friends
now,
who
man.
hate Rudy.
Don't
but
do this to me, Jerry.
I just that
Don't do
movie
it,
gets me
please.
every time.
Don't do it,
I went
please.
to a game at Notre Dame years ago. The Irish Rose went to St. Mary's, which is the women's college there, and I got a call from my cousin going, "How many Rudy quotes have you spat out so far?" I go, "We're just entering the stadium. I'm at 500." You know,
What's it like seeing a game out there?
it's great. It was.
It's
just
she must have
everything
been
I thought it would
a
be.
pig and shit out there. She must have just been loving life.
Yeah, because that was her. Her glory days too. She sang the national anthem there before.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so but she was happy just to see it through my eyes for the first time. It's gorgeous country out there. This was during
What's it like? Is it like where actually is South Bend, Indiana? Like how far is it from Indianapolis? Or like where actually? What can you relate it to?
It's-
Like for Massachusetts people, like is it like Gillette to Boston?
It's further because you got to fly into O'Hare. You
Okay.
never see Chicago. You drive through cornfields for like ever. And the thing that unnerved me that I've just never been able to like wrap my brain around because I've lived inside of Route 495 my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
The people out there genuinely are nice. Like that lady.
It's not just
taking the
passive
tolls-
aggressive, like bless your heart bullshit.
No, I mean
Okay.
like that lady working the booth at the Indiana Toll Road genuinely wanted to know how my day was going. It wasn't just lip service, it was just how you doing. Whereas like when we had toll takers here, it was just like, do you have
Yeah.
the exact change? No, do you? Here's a 20. Give me my change.
Yeah, right,
You're a toll
exactly.
taker. Give me change.
Right.
You could be replaced with a basket.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone out there was cool. You know, we didn't have the means to like tailgate, which I would have really loved to have done. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
there's not when you go up around here. There's nothing like going to a Division I football game to fill that hole in your heart that we don't get to experience. And don't talk to me about Boston College.
I know.
please.
I thank you. I'm so glad you. I am so glad, Jerry, that you just said that. I was gonna say it if you didn't. Thank you. Please continue.
Yeah.
I can talk about that in a second. Go ahead.
Before I started at WEI, I used to do this like just kind of man in the street video thing that send me out with a producer. We'd just go to a game or a Comic-Con or whatever event,
And just
we'd
ask people a
we'd
bunch
just-
of
we'd just
uncomfortable
talk
questions.
to people and we'd just edit it together and get 2 minutes of comedy out
And
of
you
it.
basically would just
the
ask
one
them-
that we went to that we got nothing out of was Notre Dame at Boston College. No one in that parking lot was fun. There was one guy wearing this
God.
hat, this elaborate hat that looked like Alumni Stadium with things hanging off it. And I somehow made reference to that calling attention to him, and he was so mortally offended. He was like really arguing with me. I'm like, well, dude, I mean, you're
what
not
are you
trying,
wearing this
you're not
fucking
trying to
hat for,
blend.
man?
Hey,
yeah,
guy,
what is this guy doing? Like, I don't understand. It's not like I came up to you asking why you're wearing a polo hat with your windbreaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude,
I'm
what the
dude,
fuck?
Like, I'm not making
It's
even
clearly a conversation piece, bro.
Yeah.
What are you wearing it for comfort? Like,
yeah,
come on,
yeah,
dude.
I'm not even making
not
a
that
value
cold out here.
judgment. I didn't come at him aggressively, you know.
It's not
But
that
then-
cold out here. It's September 13th. Like, give me a break,
Right.
bro.
We did Harvard, Yale. And
Oh,
those people
put
were
me
a
to
stone
sleep.
blast. No, they were
Oh, they
fun.
were?
They were fun. Yeah, way more fun than BC.
Not
Yeah.
not a Nerd Alert snooze fest.
No, it was fun. As a matter of fact, there was somebody, and our editors were so uptight they made us take it out, but there was somebody on his hands and knees ralphing his brains out at like 10:30 in the morning, and we got a distant shot of it, and I said, there's future Chief Justice of the Supreme Court over there.
Okay, that's funny.
There was so much
But
fun
it's not.
to be had.
It's not even like that. Like that is. It's also like true. Like it's not like every single guy with a high-ranking political job or something like that just like did nothing their entire life and lived like Todd Marinovich before he went to fucking USC or whatever that was
Right,
name.
yeah, yeah.
What? Not. Did I say? Yeah.
Yeah, Todd Marinovich.
Todd
You
Marinovich.
got
Yeah,
that
yeah,
guy,
You're right. I had that
who
right.
had never tasted sugar.
Sugar,
in
yeah,
his life.
exactly. Gets
And
to
it went there, and
UFC,
it was just-
yeah.
It was like when Bart Simpson gave like pixie sticks to Rod and Todd.
Yup.
Beep, beep, beep. You know, those iris are all like spirals and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly,
And
dude.
yeah, he went ham, and his dad probably goes, "Hey, I got my kid to the NFL. I did the right thing." No, you raised him like a veal calf.
yeah, exactly.
To not function in this world other than to be a quarterback, and
Right.
unless he turns
When he
into
steps off the
at
field.
least Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You know, then you haven't succeeded.
100%. Yeah,
And
and
you came far short of that.
when he steps off the football field and quite literally doesn't know how to function as a human being without you there holding his hand, telling him how to do everything robotically and programmed, I think there's a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So he was the equivalent of one of those kids who have the tiger mom that get them into the spelling bee, and then they get there and their brains geek out from the pressure that they've been working on this their entire life, and they're 11 years old. And they, like, faint away.
Onomatopoeia.
Can you use it in a sentence,
it's-
please? And then they
it's-
hit the deck.
Yeah, exactly. Is that, by the way, the biggest bullshit, like, buyer of time ever in the spelling bee? How the fuck does using it in a sentence give you any context of where, like, maybe there is, it's something that I don't know, and maybe you know, because I think you're like, did you ever watch the spelling bee and be like, well, what does using it in the sentence have anything to do with?
Yeah, I listened to a podcast where a guy said he had a job once where they used to do a fantasy pool for the spelling bee, and he would research the kids.
Got to snag the Indian kid, have to, or the Asian
He said
kid, you have to.
he would look at the kid that had
Plus
that kind of a
800 all
name,
day long.
Yeah, with an Indian sounding name, and
Yup.
if they were homeschooled,
Yup.
that was the first round pick.
Instant, easy first round pick, easy plus what? That's got to be plus 1,700 right there.
Oh,
Where do
yeah.
you put those odds?
Yeah,
you got to snag the young the Middle Eastern kid. You got to snag the Asian kid. You have to.
Right.
You have to, because you know those are the heavy hitters right there.
Yeah.
Those are the
Well,
guys you
okay,
never
we got an Irish kid from Weymouth. Okay, yeah, no, he's off my board.
They get
Red
Jimmy,
flags.
Anybody want Jimmy McTeague?
Yeah,
no
red-
thanks. At
red
minus
flags all over the
9,000,
place.
anybody at all?
He still doesn't know his there from his there from his
Yeah,
there.
exactly. we got Craig Antaramian from Watertown. Anybody have any interest in this kid? No.
What's your beef with BC? I'm fascinated.
No, I just think they're the most swing and miss college of all time, unless it's hockey. I think they should be. They're an ACC school. They should be getting every sporting recruit for any sport that they want religiously. I'm sorry. They should have a way better baseball team. There's plenty of good baseball players up here. They should have a way better basketball team, and they should have a way better football team. I'm sorry. The fact that they just doubled down and they're only focused on like men's hockey, which is great. I'm like a diehard hockey fan, so like BC was always my team. My dad, your guys, BU guy.
Okay.
BU guy. My dad, BU guy, me, BC guy. Jack, how do you feel about this? Because you're a hockey guy. No, I'm aware, but like, how do you feel about my take on like BC as the school? Penn State guy, by the way, right here.
Okay.
Yep. More well-rounded, like one more good sport, like one dude, like just garbage. Wait, how big is Notre Dame?
Yeah.
I thought it was way bigger than that.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
going to lie.
it's
That's my own
it's not
naivety
what it
right
is,
there.
Yeah. And you know what a Notre Dame kid and a BC kid have in common? They both had BC as their safety school.
Yeah. Wagsy loves that one. Me and Wagsy, not college guys, loving that one right there.
I don't want to lord it over anybody, but Bridgewater State. So there you go. So I can kind of just act like I'm better than everybody else because I managed to get into Bridgewater. You needed to know which way the door swings. You know, and if it was push or pull. Beyond that, like you really didn't even need a pen.
No.
Like I went there and it lead America in people who go, excuse me, do we have to know this? No? Okay. It's not on the test. Okay. Yeah, that was it. I'm very proud of that.
How was college in the 80s? Was the 80s?
I had to commute to school the whole time. I never had that living away at college experience.
You were the commute guy?
I had no, there was no money for it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not telling you my sob story.
No,
but
I'm going to cry. I haven't cried yet today. Come on.
My mom was a widow. She had 5 kids. I'm the youngest of 5. None of the rest of them went to college. I went just because I didn't know what else to do,
Yeah, right.
and my friends were going. So I started at Massasoit Community College. Thank you very much again, Brockton University.
Yep.
And then ended up at Bridgewater.
The University of Brockton.
Yeah.
There's some Cape Verdean in you, I can tell. Absolutely,
absolutely.
Yeah. 1,000%. Jerry DePina.
Yeah, no regrets other than it would have been nice to have that living away in a dorm, being surrounded by
Did you have a dream
idiots.
school?
I had no direction.
None at all. Oh, so none at all.
I just kind of went to college just to do it.
You weren't like, I got to get to Notre Dame. The Midwest is where I'll flourish and fucking do all this shit.
I'll tell you what my mother told me I should do, that I should get into
the union.
Sports reporting.
Wow.
I kid you not.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, she was clairvoyant. I don't know how she knew it. I was
An Irish Catholic mother in Boston in the 70s, like, you should be a sports reporter?
Yeah. You know that stuff. You really should. You'd be good on cameras. Like, I'm a weird, awkward, shy kid. As now I'm a weird, awkward, shy old man. But yeah, had I listened to her, I probably would have gotten into what I ended up doing a lot sooner. But it was a long, weird.
What did you?
Journey.
What did you do? What was the scenic route?
For a while, I cooked for a living. I'm not kidding.
Are you serious?
Yeah, restaurants.
Where, McSwiggin's in fucking Weymouth or whatever the hell it was?
Some restaurants. Mostly, I got into a really sweet niche, which was doing the dining room at like elite law firms downtown. Like, they had them back then. I don't know if they still do.
What?
But doing dinners for clients, but serving the staff.
So they used to do that in house.
Yeah. So it was
so
like,
it's not like, hey, we're taking this guy with a fucking $1 billion loss. We're going to Capitol Grill and it's us and 10 people.
No, you're working in a air conditioned environment all day long. It's not a bunch of people screaming at you. Whatever.
People almost had to die for you to get this job. If you wanted to get your foot in the.
It didn't pay much. Whatever. My wife got her dad, being that retired judge that I mentioned before, was tapped into the Hackorama in Massachusetts. So he got me a job working in a courthouse. I was a badge monkey, all rise. Okay. That was mine. I said that, And I did that for a lot of years.
You were a court officer.
Yeah, and I was ready to do that forever. And on the side, I stumbled into this Barstool sports thing. And I was doing that kind of like in my free time on the job. Or maybe sometimes it wasn't my free time. No, I was always down in Plymouth County.
Oh, you're always in Plymouth County. So my aunt, shout out to C. Louis really quick. I want to say 10 years in Suffolk County. Mm-hmm. Now ready to retire out of Woburn in the next 3 years. Grinded out the bailiff life, grinded out the court officer life. She was a meter maid before she got in with the court.
Holy
yeah,
kidding.
right.
All
So we knew a couple of people, Jerry. Can you tell?
Yeah. So
yeah,
she
you know
got
what I'm saying?
That was her.
So C. Louis ended up making it happen. She's 3 years away from retiring. God love her. One of those girl always was like focused on having a job.
Sure.
No college, just like I feel like people in Massachusetts just do that back in the day. Like guys, girls you went to high school with, whatever it was, you guys got out of high school. College wasn't even really like, my dad was like, nobody went to fucking college.
Right.
My dad was like, the only reason I was in high school is because I played hockey at Columbus. And we played Don Bosco, Matignon, all the Boston Tech, like some of these schools that aren't even like around anymore, by the way. And it's like, he was like, yeah, nobody even like really went to college. He's like, I want to work with your grandfather right out of high school. And that was pretty much it.
And that pendulum swung way too far.
Yeah.
And now, like, everyone feels like they have to. No. Let old balls give you a piece of advice here, kids.
OB.
You don't have to.
Thank
Seriously. You. There are jobs out there that will set you up for life. You'll never have to like wake up someday and find out that your job got outsourced to Sri Lanka or whatever. You're never
Or
going to
AI.
have anyone, right? You're not going to have your pension get squandered by some hedge fund manager who like retires to his mansion in the Hamptons and
Bali.
you're left
Yeah,
broke
exactly,
or
right.
whatever. And so when my kids graduated, I have 2 sons, and when at their graduation, and I know this was well-intentioned, but it just was weird that they gave everyone's name.
Where'd they go,
and
by
then
the way?
said where they're going to college. So-
My college also did my college, my high Georgetown High also did that. I'm pretty sure, and not to sound like retroactively snowflakey or like oh, this was insensitive and shit. Like when you think about it from your perspective, what you're trying, the way you're saying it, not to like, oh, I went to Northern Essex Community College, I feel bad that this kid's going to Northeastern. Like, no, it's a matter of like, who really gives a shit?
Right, yeah, like it's a requirement too, because
Sure.
there were other kids that were going right off into a job, and whether it was a trade or the family business or whatever, and he's going to start working, and like you just get this awkward smattering
He's
of
going
applause.
into
like,
local 22.
Right, guess what? Right, exactly. So you mean
Everybody's like,
right,
nice.
yeah,
great.
but no one really knew what to do. And
Who's
it's like,
signing
how
your
about-
book for
okay,
you?
so by the time this kid's 20, he's gonna have money in the bank and no student loan
He
debt.
just bought a house and a brand new car. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
What, dude?
Meanwhile, all the guys in that town, this was in Hanover, all the big McMansions were all being built by people who made a killing in the trades, especially when, like, you know, the economy went south and people started putting money back into fixing up their homes or whatever. Those guys were printing money or whatever, as
my
opposed
God,
to the
yeah.
people in the financial markets or whatever, except the real CEOs who took the cash from the government and stuck it in
Right.
their pockets. So, I mean, you know, my son at that time, the older of the two, you know, they say, and he's going off to the Marine Corps, and he got a nice round of applause, and that's really great. But I would have been like, if he's going to just go, you know, get his degree and become a, you know, like a certified plumber's assistant or whatever, I would have been perfectly fine with that. Because at that point, when he was 18, sticking him in a classroom would have been like teaching a pig to sing. Like, it would have just annoyed the pig.
What'd the
and
Irish
not did
Rose
it.
think of all this?
About the
Was she a traditional college student?
that's where she went, and she really wanted to get away from like her mom. God rest the woman's soul, but I mean, she
Remember
died.
when people used to do that back in the day, from what it sounds like?
Oh, yeah,
Do
she-
shit just to get away from their parents when they turn 18?
She was thrilled to go out to
Yeah.
South Bend, Indiana.
My mother
just
got
to get
married
away.
to her first husband with that exact same intention to get away from my grandmother. Shout out to Roseanne. Yeah, married Bobby O, 18 years old, divorced 18 months later, I want to say. So it was a nice cup of coffee, but she was like, yeah, I had to get away from your grandfather.
There you go.
It's like, okay, whatever.
She would get jobs to work all summer or whatever. And like her mom loved her. That was never in doubt, but she was just a really demanding woman. And then
Sort of
she,
overbearing
she,
in that, yeah.
She passed away on President's Day the year before last. And as I told my wife at the time, I go, you know, your mom died as she lived, ruining our long weekends. So. And guess who gave the eulogy? Me. The rest of the family just bailed.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
Irish Rose was singing. She had to sing her own
Right.
mom's funeral. Emotional time for her, and I was the one who had to talk because the rest of the family just went, yeah, nope.
Yeah, nope.
No, you got that.
Jerry
So I got
and
up there.
Ann can
It was-
handle this.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it was like Ron Burgundy's Emmy acceptance speech. Keep those microphones on.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not done talking.
Yeah.
I have other things. I'm getting the final word in.
They're like, Jerry, how are you talking for 45 minutes about your mother-in-law right
Yeah.
now? They're like, yeah.
Nah, they gave me my tight 5, like open mic night.
The priest is like, our father is good. Don't
yeah,
worry, but you can
yeah.
go sit down, Jerry. Right. Anne's like running out of ammo. She's drinking honey and vinegar, trying to keep the cords going and stuff like that. She's just like, I'm in a falsetto I haven't been in since 1983. I'm really running out of gas here, buddy. Wrap it up. No. So again, if we're gonna circle back to the whole sports movie, actually, you know what? Fuck that from right now.
Okay.
Okay, Patriots. We just had Zolak and fucking.
Beautiful.
I have a list for you. I got
Okay,
a list.
great.
I want your seal of approval here.
Oh, the lightning round?
Kind of, yeah.
Fire a
kind
bunch of
that,
questions
absolutely
at me.
kind of
Let's
that.
go.
Okay.
You're not gonna crack me. I'm not gonna sit here like Belichick during the dynasty. We're just gonna have me sweating. Like Belichick, that poor guy. Like he built this empire and they made him look like the tobacco executive on a 60 Minutes episode. Like just
That's like 60 million people have died from lung cancer because of your products this year.
Right, exactly.
Do you have
So-
any comment about that?
Are you an unindicted co-conspirator in the Hernandez murders? Like, why did you do it? Like, that was the worst.
Why,
Absolute-
Bill? Why?
Absolute friggin' worst special. Like, I don't know. I sort of remembered some really good times in those 20 years of unprecedented success, and they made the whole thing sound like a true crime podcast. The whole show sucked. It's just a hatchet job of the worst order.
And this is what show were you referring to
The
again?
Dynasty, that documentary
I'm
series.
sorry. I missed what you said in the beginning. I apologize. I heard
right.
Aaron
No,
Hernandez
you were pulling all
started
your
picking-
questions. I'm
no,
not
I
offended.
apologize. So you're a football fan, obviously, through and through. You've been watching the NFL for fucking years now,
Since
right?
I was a child.
So
Yep.
I am going to give you a list of guys. This is as of April of this year, according to CBS.com, CBSSports.com, that should be or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Borderline. Okay. We're gonna go rapid fire here. Number 20, starting off, Joe Theismann.
No.
Okay. Max and Zolak both said no. Also.
Okay.
Okay. Didn't play for long enough.
Yeah, so none of these guys are in. This is whether they should
This
be
is
in.
whether
Okay.
they should or shouldn't be in.
Got
okay.
it.
Didn't get to the NFL until 29, by the way.
Got it. Yeah.
Phil Simms.
No.
Why?
Again, if you have to
Is
think
he a
about
victim
it,
of the era, though?
if you got to think about it for a second, like,
Okay, fair.
then no, you know what I mean?
Okay, fair.
And both those guys you associate with, they won a Super Bowl. But if that becomes a criteria, you're going to get,
Way more guys won one than won multiple.
yeah, exactly.
But he won two. That's the only caveat I will give. Yeah,
Well, one, he wasn't the starter. He was
Jeff
hurt.
Hostetler
Jeff
was. You're right. My
Hostetler,
bad. My bad.
yeah.
You're right. You're totally correct. I apologize. Steve Tasker. If Devin Hester's in, this is why when you do this kind
I know,
of thing,
because
Jerry.
now you're in the special teams thing, and I'd rather see more of those guys in than fewer. So I'm going to say,
Okay,
I'm
I
going to
respect
say,
that
yeah,
take.
because when you've only had three, and it's a part of the game, it's not a third of the game, but then it becomes like, well, I don't think designated hitters should be in. Well, obviously they are, and there was a time when they said, well, I don't think a closer should be in. They come in, they get 3 outs or whatever. So sports evolves, and I think yes. Hester gets in. I think Tasker. What
Okay.
did those guys think?
Okay, I'm sorry.
What did Zoe and Max?
They both said yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they both
I'm
said
in good
yeah.
company then.
Otis Taylor, Chiefs, wide receiver. Early days of the Chiefs. I'm talking like the Len Dawson days. I don't know if you remember this guy.
No,
well.
just I know the name, but the fact that it doesn't jump out at me tells
Fair.
me he never hit some milestone that I should know.
Anquan Bolden.
No.
Yeah, they both said no. Also, never like
Good. There's Pro Bowler.
Sure.
There's All Pro,
Yep.
which he's not that, and then there's Hall of Fame. It's a pyramid, and
I
the
agree.
final point in that pyramid is statue worthy, and we're
Sure.
making way too many statues. But we'll put a pin in that conversation.
Jim Marshall.
No. Famous for going the wrong way.
Oh, fuck. Max said the same thing. I didn't realize it was this guy until Max Lane pointed it
Yep.
out. He's like, no, that's the fucking. I'm like, what? I'm like, go figure. This guy.
Picked up a fumble and
He's
ran
got
the wrong
like
direction.
serious like records, dude. He holds like the most seasons played by a defensive player, 20.
Okay.
With Junior Seau and Darryl Green. Most consecutive games by a defensive player, 282 in a row. Consecutive starts by a defensive player, 270. Career fumble recoveries with 30. And still started for the Vikings at age 42.
Okay, you convinced me. Seriously, those are accomplishments.
I was
really.
going to say that is an
we started
accomplishment.
out joking about like guys who just have the longevity.
Sure.
But to play that long at that position, where you're in there, like, and it's bumper
They went
cars
to three-
every
they
single
went
play
to- I didn't
for
realize-
60 plays a game, and you play for that long. That belies a toughness that needs to be recognized.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jerry, once I read this like rap sheet right here, I'm like, dude, really? You sure? Like, this guy's good.
Yeah.
They also, I didn't realize they went to 3 NFC title games in that span as well. They just could never wrap it up.
Okay.
They got beat by the Raiders, the Cowboys, and Steelers? No,
Okay.
not that early.
Yeah, we got-
it might have been Green Bay.
He's with Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So couldn't have been the Raiders. It's a
Oh,
different
yeah,
it's
you're-
a NFC.
No. The Raiders were in the NFC at the time?
No.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
said
In the
he's on
Super
the, he
Bowl.
played for the Vikings.
No, I'm saying so they got beat by John Madden's Raiders.
Right, okay, you're talking about in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Got it,
that's
got
what
it,
I meant.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry.
My
That's
bad,
what I
yeah.
meant. That's what I meant. I apologize if that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Tommy Nobis, played for the Falcons in the early days. No idea who he is.
Blank.
Blank. Pat Swilling. It's another guy with some serious accolades.
Him. And I was a big New Orleans fan. I love that defense.
They
I love that
fucking sucked at this
linebacker
time,
core
though, right?
or whatever. Yeah.
Is this the Archie Manning shit time?
It was after that.
Yeah,
it was like
you're
Bobby Hebert and stuff. And he was
86 to 92 to be more specific.
He was one of a real wrecking crew of linebackers. Him I could live with, although I think he's borderline.
DPOY, 1991, 5 consecutive Pro Bowls, 89 and 93. Led the NFL in sacks in 91 with 17. Retired with 107.5 sacks.
Yep. Yeah, I think he's on the bubble, but I would not object to Pat Swilling being in there again because I love New Orleans was like my favorite non-Patriots team.
Everybody has one. Mine's always been the Raiders.
Yeah, you always had to, and I picked the one that to that point had never won a playoff game. I don't know. I was bad.
Steve Smith.
I see his candidacy, but I'm not going to bang the table for that one. You know what I mean?
How many times was he the best receiver in the league even?
I mean, he was clearly the best receiver on his team. Some guys get nominated who weren't even that.
Like he is Mr. Panther besides fucking Cam Newton.
Probably holds all the team records.
Has to at this point, right?
Yeah.
This is another guy that I'm going to go with. I'm sorry. Steve Smith, I would say yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to die on this hill, but okay. If he gets in, okay.
Okay, fine, right.
It would have to be a slow year.
This guy is the most egregious one on the whole fucking list. I talked about Max Lane with this guy for like 20 minutes straight. I have no idea how Joe Jacoby is not in the Hall of Fame.
No kidding. Okay.
The only guy from that O-line group with the Redskins that's in is Russ Grimm.
Really?
The Hogs. The Hogs, yeah. That's their like nickname and shit, right?
The guys who mastered the counter tray. That was the modern version of that old like sweep that Vince Lombardi used to run. Joe Gibbs was like, when people stop it, we'll stop running it. And no one ever stopped it. Yeah.
I mean, remember the All-80s team? Won 2 Super Bowls with the Redskins. I think he won another one with somebody. Or no, did he win another one in the early 80s with the Redskins maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Probably. They won a lot back then.
He has 3 Super Bowls with the Redskins. I think one's from the earlier mid-'80s and the other 2 of the early 90s with Doug Williams and Mark Rippon. And then he was a Pro Bowler for every season from 83 to 86, so 4 years in a row. And then he's a member of the All-80s team. And, by the way, want to talk about something else that's crazy? Last thing about Joe Jacoby, played every position on the offensive line, I'm pretty sure.
No kidding. Okay. See, there you go. Yeah, if you're a member of the all-decade team, then your other decades had to have really sucked. You would have had to really destroy your legacy to eliminate 10 years in a league where the average career is 3.5 years, that you were the best at your position for 10 years.
Yeah.
That counts for a lot. And also, if you had like a defensive unit that was a front line that was the equivalent of that Hogs team, those guys would all get in. If it was the Steel Curtain, if it was the
100% it was
the Purple People Eaters, they all get in. But, sometimes that's just marketing. I get it. And that, leads to
the O-line's the least sexy position in all of football.
Right, exactly.
You got a kicker that's Ray Guy's more likely to get in than one of those guys, which is fucking crazy.
A million times. A guy that... does his job. The 5 positions thing might be the most impressive part of his resume.
Do you remember that? He literally played all center, guard, tackle on both sides, like crazy.
Sometimes it just takes that sports writer to stand up in the around the round table and just say, let me strongly make a case for Joe Jacoby, and then people go, oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, that's it.
The way Ron Borges, and I have my problems with Ron Borges, but he went to bat for Andre Tippett and got him in there, who deserved it. And I think he did. He might have done Richard Seymour too. And I thought Seymour would be the deserving guy who had to wait forever to get in. And so anyway, so Joe Jacoby, get him in there.
Jim Plunkett, guy you're familiar with?
Yeah, no. I get it.
Who do you compare him to today for the kids? Who would you compare him to right now? Like, who's today's Jim Plunkett right now for the kiddies?
You'd have to think of like a guy who came out of school with a lot of promise and then just was brought into a bad circumstance and things went south for him, and that was him. I'm trying to think of like a recent...
Sam Darnold?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of who it would be, but it sounds like this guy was more successful than...
Maybe like Baker Mayfield or something.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, because he what did he revitalize himself with the Raiders, right?
Yes, as a backup, and the the Patriots drafted him on a rebuilding team. He was a quiet, shy guy.
The
His
early
parents-
70s Patriots, they sucked ass.
Interesting. You know what his ethnicity is, by the way? Jim
Native
Plunkett?
American Indian, right?
Mexican.
Mexican?
Mexican-American with a last name Plunkett. Both his parents were blind. And,
That's right, they are. Yep.
And he's this shy kid from California, and he comes here. And there's a story, it's in my book, From Darkness to Dynasty, the first 40 years of the New England
plug,
Patriots.
by the way, snag
which is
it.
available everywhere fine books are sold.
Mm-hmm.
And so they do the rookie hazing thing where you had to stand up and sing your fight song. And he didn't know his fight song. Like, you don't know your fight song? Well, you got to sing something. He's like, I don't know, you just didn't really want to. So, well, sing something. So he got up, and the only song he knew off the top of his head was Jingle Bells. So it's July in New England, and this guy from California is introducing himself to his teammates singing Jingle Bells, and it was weird and awkward, and, you know, the offensive line sucked for a while, and they traded him for a boatload of draft picks and built a wagon. That team of the mid to late 70s was an absolutely incredible, they had like 2 years where they had 3 draft picks, and they crushed all
This
three
isn't
of
the
them.
Tony Easton Patriots. This is the
No,
Steve
this was
Grogan Patriots.
Steve Grogan, and then, you know, you had Sam Cunningham in there, the great. They held
5 minutes of film?
Okay.
All right, that's fine. We'll
yeah,
be fine.
they held the record for rushing yards until it was broken just recently by the Ravens with Lamar Jackson or whatever.
Okay.
They had like the absolute incredible running team, and yeah, they started winning playoff games and whatever, and then it all just. Actually, no, they started going to the playoffs for the first time in my life and then losing terribly. But I'm sorry, I digress.
You're
But
totally
Plunkett,
fine.
the fact that he got to win 2 Super Bowls is an incredible story.
Yeah.
I just don't think you put a guy in the Hall of Fame for that.
I would agree with that. Next, L.C. Greenwood.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
should be in.
Again,
Right.
part of that
Yup.
steel curtain, you know, part of that unit that's so celebrated. No
Yup.
reason to keep him out just because
You
he
never
played
hear his name a
alongside-
ton, though.
Yeah, just
you always
because he
hear
played
Mean Joe Green and fucking
Jack Lambert
and
Jack
shit.
Ham was in
yeah,
that,
right,
yep.
exactly. Clay Matthews, the father. Sounds like I said this on the previous episode with Zoe and Max Lane. It seems like he was a really good player on 2 shitty teams.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Falcons at the end of his career, Browns from 78 to 93. He played for 19 seasons. Only made 4 Pro Bowls, though.
That's
I don't want to
impressive
say
itself.
only, but like when you play for that long.
Right.
This is where longevity plays against you.
He missed the Pro Bowl for 15 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
if you really
yeah, right.
Want to turn a positive into a
It's
negative
tough,
here.
man. Lester Hayes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a badass. He was an impact player on some great teams. You know, and maybe those Raiders teams are way overrepresented at this point, but yeah, he was a guy that you game planned for a long time.
Okay.
And you had to worry about him.
How do you feel about Roger Craig?
Boy, yeah.
First player in league history to have 1,000 rushing and receiving yards in the same season in '85.
Yep. That immediately when you said his name, what comes to mind is like the versatility, and he was again a guy you had to game plan for on some excellent teams. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm surprised he's not in.
All '80s team,
Again, same
4-time
thing.
Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. Yep. Sterling Sharp.
No,
Wait. Hold on.
Okay.
Ready? Zolak said if Terrell Davis is in, he should be in. He's got a point. He has a point, Jerry. Damn it.
He's comparing Sterling Sharp to Terrell Owens.
No, Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis.
Did I
my
say
bad.
Terrell Owens? I'm an idiot.
No,
Sorry.
I heard.
Okay, I got you.
heard that.
I got
okay,
you.
No,
I got you.
You said it right. Yeah, I get the argument. Terrell Davis, I think, is really questionable because
So do I.
he was outstanding, but for such a short period of time, he's getting in there under the Sandy Koufax rule, which was he was really unstoppable for a while. But I mean, Koufax at least had a career before, he turned into becoming unhittable for like 6 years.
Yep.
So that's why it's a clumsy analogy. But yeah, Davis just was that star that shone bright for a very short time and then flamed out through no fault of his own. I could live without him being in, but I would rather see neither of them in than both of them in,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Hines Ward.
I'm gonna say yes because I like what he brought to the table, and
They don't make receivers like him anymore.
exactly in an era where it's all about putting up like video game numbers. He was tough and he was clutch, and he was
Zoe
the best
said it best.
blocking.
He made
wide
blocking
receiver.
his thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like his thing.
And
like
he could catch passes. It wasn't like he was
did.
out there with pizza paddle hands going.
No. He was tough to tackle. He was tough to bring down. Even like going over the middle. He was going up and getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he gets in under that. That guy can drink from my canteen anytime.
100%. Ken Anderson.
Nah. Good for a while. Probably led the league in a bunch of categories, but
yeah.
No, a
Like
quarterback's
Matt Ryan, like Matt Ryan of the 70s, 80s.
Right. A quarterback is going to be judged by winning, and that's a double-edged sword. Some guys get in there that don't deserve it because they won, and then you got guys who probably deserved it but didn't win. It's the unfairness of it because that position is overrepresented, so no Ken Anderson.
Torrey Holt. I'd say yeah. I'd say he was better than Isaac Bruce, and I actually would put him in. I actually would put him in over Kurt Warner. I would rather have Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt in than Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk, personally.
Yeah, he was top of the league for a long time. He was the leader of a top offense for a long time. Also was the one who we're indebted to forever because he looked right at the camera before the Super Bowl 36, and he said, "Tonight, a dynasty is born, baby." And he was right. He just had the wrong team.
Dynasty. Unreal. Last one's Reggie Wayne. I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah, I could.
I'm going to say, because you could say, oh, he was just Peyton Manning's buddy after Marvin Harrison retired. He still he still made the Pro Bowl the next year with Andrew Luck as a rookie.
Yep, and came to Foxborough for like 3 days.
3 days.
Training camp and just said, nope,
fuck this,
not
I'm
going to
out.
do that. I thought you were going to say Eli Manning. And
yes.
It seems inevitable, but here's my point about Eli Manning. If he gets in, he has to be what I want to see done in every Hall of Fame, which is designate the worst guy in the Hall of Fame. Like right now, it's Joe Namath. Worst guy.
100%.
Like he's your standard to be better.
Wait a minute,
to get in, you have to be better than him.
Yeah.
So if Eli Manning gets in, he's now the designated worst guy in the Hall of Fame, and every hall should officially make that guy. Like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Randy Newman. Randy Newman is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You got a friend in me. That's crazy that Randy Newman's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way.
I Love L.A. is probably his best song.
It is,
His biggest hit was a novelty song, Short People. I Love L.A. is only significant because it was in the greatest baseball scene in movie history, the Naked Gun movie.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you put Eli Manning in there, he's the Randy Newman of the Pro Football
I will
Hall
say
of
this.
Fame.
I don't know that Eli Manning should be in there, but I think he's definitely better than Joe Namath. That's my only take there, to be honest with you.
Damning him with faint praise, but damn it, he deserves it.
Yeah. And with that, Jerry, I can't wait to have you on again. This episode was a blast. Absolute blast. I had a great time. This is exactly how I thought it was going to go. This episode was a shit ton of fun. Again, I hope we just do this again at some point just to keep shooting the shit. Probably arguably the most fun I've had doing this show since we started doing it. It's an absolute blast.
What the hell?
Thank you for coming on.
Hey, it was the first time. I hope it's not the last. Thanks, buddy.
Buddy, I appreciate you. Jerry, thank you again. That's a wrap on episode 4 of this season of Shut Up, Mark. See you in September.